Hey everybody, and welcome to another exciting, amazing, and connected episode of Finding Peaks. Yours truly, President, Founder, Chief Executive Officer, Chris Burns. So grateful to be here today with my guest, but before we introduce the guest, I want to tell you a little story. About 12 months ago, back in October of last year, I'd been doing jiu-jitsu for about 7 or 8 months. And at this time, I literally could not lift my shoulders above my head. And I had succumbed to the fact or the thought of a fact that maybe I just can't do jiu-jitsu. I had talked to my wife. I was like, maybe I need to quit. I'm 40 years old. I shouldn't do this. I'm 38, by the way. And then I decided to support one of my good friends, Andrew, and Peaks alumni on a 100-mile race. And I decided to support him, or he asked me to support him from 81 to 100 miles. And this was really, really cool. It was Peaks alumni. It was Garden of the Gods. But when we get down to the finish line, I run into a guy who I would come to later know as Dr. Christian Wade. And he talks a bit about concierge wellness, and I had never heard about this, specifically in Colorado Springs. He says he creates relationships with individuals to help them find healing on their journey, physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. From that day to now, my life has adamantly changed, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and most certainly physically. I have the best shoulders on planet Earth. I'm feeling really good. And I'm talking to people that I love and care about concierge wellness, about Dr. Christian Wade. So without further ado, my doctor, good friend, Dr. Christian Wade with Concierge Wellness, everybody.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's
awesome.
Good to be here. It's good to chat about wellness and all the things included.
Yeah, it's cool because I go to the jiu-jitsu gym all the time and I'm like, people are always hurting. Arms are hurting, legs are hurting. I'm like, call my guy.
Yeah.
And I get asked the question sometimes. They're like, yeah, but it's $1,200 for 10 sessions. And like, what's different about it? And I say, just give them a call, sit down, create the opportunity and walk through it. And you tell me what's different about it. I think first off and foremost, Christian, and you'll be able to speak to this more clearly than I can, I think the relational side is everything. My PT experience was 15 minutes in with somebody I didn't know. Mm-hmm. We didn't really have a relationship. He'd pull my leg left and right, and then I'd be bouncing balls off a trampoline for the next 45 minutes. And I thought that's what physical therapy was.
Yeah.
And I continue to have the aches and pains and the creaks, and I experienced no healing. And so maybe for the viewers a little bit, what is this concierge wellness about? What is an intimate relationship with a practitioner, and how does that work?
Yeah, good question. You hit on a lot of that, but it is a relationship. It's me. It's me every time. Until we grow and have other providers, you'd still have that one provider every time. But, I think most people's experience with physical therapy is similar to yours, right? We're going in, we get on the spin bike for 10 minutes, someone stretches us out for 10 minutes, stand on some foam pads, do some band work, call it good. 12 sessions later, we're still having knee pain. So, I've worked in over 15 clinics, over 5 states across the country, and I've realized I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and I realized I want to make a change. I want to create a different version of what PT is. So really, it starts with a thorough assessment. You witnessed that, 90 minutes with me, one-on-one the whole time. We go through your medical history, your past history, all your injuries, anything that could be related. We talk about nutrition, we talk about good sleep hygiene, stress management, water, protein, all the good stuff. And we develop a plan for you, right? For each person, that plan is going to look a little bit different. But the overarching theme, good nutrition, good exercise. I think it's just the basic stuff that we miss. And so I've created a company where I provide that concierge service. We have direct communication. During your plan of care with me, you can text me anytime, right? If I can't answer over text, I'll call you, I'll FaceTime you. It's creating that access to good care, right? So we're not only providing quality service, but quality access to that. Traditional medical model, we're waiting 4 to 6 weeks to see anybody these days, right? Before we got on the show, I had a cancellation. Someone texted me to get in. I'm seeing him tonight.
Nice.
So, worst case next week, right? So it's been nice to be able to provide that flexibility for people. And so that's part of the concierge process.
And it's so important too, because there's so much mistrust with our medical model and what we've walked through. I mean, my wife had a surgery where she had a rod put in. She had never been the same.
Yep.
And she was rushed into that, and people are rushed into these things unbeknownst to the outcomes. And so there's a tremendous amount of distrust. And so I love what you're talking about too, because it's not just sitting down, doing physical therapy, having an assessment, creating wellness. It's like, hey man, we're gonna build a relationship that is trusting. And I had never, certainly I've never been in this type of shape, because I've never been able to walk with a provider day in and day out. I was texting Christian before we got up here. I mean, I had a leg thing, and he's like, we'll check you out, we'll get you good. That's the type of connective tissue experience that helps kind of my bias settle a little bit and recreate some opportunity for trust and healing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful process. I really, really love it. I encourage each and every person to at least give it a shot. And it feels, you know, it's like this investment, you know? It's like waking up at 5 a.m. I remember my good friend, Christian Pantoa, he always says, he said, you invest now or you invest later.
Yeah.
We invest now or we invest later. And similar to waking up at 5 a.m., it's much more difficult when I become 75 years old and I have all sorts of core morbidity issues if I make it that late.
Yep.
And so I want to invest today, because I think we've done the cost-benefit analysis for folks that are dealing with mental health issues, substance use recovery, diet, nutrition, exercise, and movement, quite frankly, is all the craze right now.
Yep.
What have you seen from your clients from a mental health perspective? I know you've worked with a ton of people, you know, and to watch that light turn on and them go, oh my gosh, I'm smiling, I'm happy, I feel good, I look good, I got friends. Maybe chat with the viewers a little bit about, like, what is that experience like?
Yeah, I think that's what drives me a lot is, I was speaking with my wife about this, I want to change someone's perspective. I want to change their mentality around this injury or chronic pain or whatever they're dealing with. And I can relate to that. You know, I've had lower back pain since college, injury. It took me almost 10 years to kind of work through that in various different medical professions and opinions on it. But mentally, it's taxing. It's super taxing, and you need someone to kind of go through that with you instead of bouncing to different providers and getting unknown answers. And so from a mental perspective, I think what I've found that I provide the most for people that they don't get elsewhere is hope. Right? I'm giving them hope. This can get better. This can absolutely get better. May not be tonight, may not be tomorrow, but it can absolutely get better. And so, yeah, it motivates me to give hope, because a lot of people don't have that in our current system.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to go see a provider. We throw out our back, right? We're going to go to urgent care. Urgent care is going to take an x-ray, make sure we didn't break anything, send us home with muscle relaxers, some pain pills, tell us to take it easy. Yeah. Probably the worst thing we could do. 6 weeks later, we follow up. We might get a referral to physical therapy, might not. You know, they're still stuck. They're still dealing with this pain. They're probably going to get another pill. Probably going to offer an injection because we want that fix. Yeah. So mentally, I try to encourage people, let's give it a little bit of time. This didn't happen overnight. Even if you think it did, you know, you think it was just that thing you lifted. This was probably years of poor choices adding up, you know, and accumulating to this injury. But yeah, I like to provide the hope for people. I think mentally that's huge. And then clarity. And some kind of vision, like what does the future look like? What can that look like? And we work towards that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and we anchor into that here at Peaks Recovery. Is like so many people have had the door slammed in their face of hope over and over and over. And so when we can create visibility, clarity, connection, and trust with our providers, I think it really creates a momentum with our mental health and with our recovery and with our clients that we have the opportunity to work with, which is so cool. And we were chatting a little bit about before the show, you know, I'm really big into this wellness thing in my 16th year of recovery, because when I first got into recovery, they were like, you need to go to this church basement, hang out there 3 times a day. It's going to be really dark in there, but you're going to find people that love you and care about you. And there was people that loved and cared about me. But what I also saw in there oftentimes was incredibly disconnected choices with respect to nutrition, with respect to environment, but nobody's informing that. And so as a result, I think I read a study most recently that folks that struggle with mental health issues are 3 to 5 times more likely to die from all-cause death mortality, which breaks my heart. Yeah. And so I want to ensure that I'm introducing to people in recovery, as we move into recovery, what I like to call 2.0, spiritual, mental, and emotional, that they know that there's an opportunity to actually not feel the way that they feel. I know when I first started meeting with you, I remember after like 4 months, I was like, dude, I don't think these shoulders are going to get better. And then all of a sudden, right, it's a process.
Yep.
And you speak so clearly to allowing oneself to engage in your process, which I think is really dynamic and fitting for the recovery process. I don't remember many doctors growing up, man, that actually prescribed movement as medicine.
Yeah.
But I was listening to this podcast the other day, and I know you're familiar with it as well, but they're talking about doctors writing prescriptions for gym memberships. How does that work?
Yeah, as far as I know, you can write it. It's called a letter of medical necessity.
Yeah.
So all they got to do is say, hey, exercise is necessary for this person's medical health. Plain and simple, they write on a pad. Could be like a prescription script pad, right, for pills. But they write exercise or gym membership or Whole Foods, whatever. You can get that covered under your HSA, FSA dollars. So we're using tax advantage dollars to pay for our gym memberships, pay for our Whole Foods and supplements and our super greens and all that. It makes too much sense.
Yeah.
It makes way too much sense. But unfortunately, it doesn't make dollars, right, for the pharmaceutical companies. So it's been in the dark for a while.
But that's so good for people to know, especially in early recovery. Maybe they're coming in, they're a young adult, they're on their folks' insurance plan, they got an HSA. This is covered.
Yeah.
I didn't know until I listened to that podcast of those Stanford surgeons, and they were talking about it. But literally, we get our doctors to write on there, hey, can we just not do the whatever and insert gym membership at lifetime? And then now you have this coverage through your health benefit, which is extraordinary. That's so cool, man. I learned that the other day. I was like, holy crap. I cannot believe that. Most people aren't talking about that.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful thing and what a cool opportunity that's there that we could kind of open the veil to for our viewers.
Yeah, and we take all that, right? So you can use HSA, FSA dollars for concierge wellness as well.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, I was trying to think if I had an HSA. I was actually thinking earlier this week, I wanted to do a cost-benefit analysis on how much I actually pay for my health benefit, how much I use, and kind of see what that looks like as well. Because you're going in and you're right, you're getting your physical therapy, you're coming in, you're paying your $20 copay, but then oftentimes you're getting a bill too as well. And so just really want to speak to the connectivity and the purpose-driven opportunity that people have when they check in with you and your team. I mean, just really, really cool. You speak to something very clearly, both in session and on your website, talking about elevating your well-being. I think that's really, really cool because I don't think people connect physical therapy with well-being.
Right.
How do you connect physical therapy with well-being?
Yeah, just to hit on all the factors, right? We've been separated into different specialties. PT is just supposed to rub your back or pop it or give you some exercises. But traditionally, we haven't talked about the other things and all those lifestyle factors. And so I try to hit on everything, general wellness picture, right? We've chatted many times, but I can manipulate your back, or I can get the shoulder pain down, or we can get you stronger. But like, are you sleeping, 8 to 9 hours a night? Are you drinking, half your body weight in fluid ounces? Are you eating a gram per pound of body fat of protein a day? Are you managing your stress well? All the things that go into pain, right, specifically. So I'm not there to fix someone's shoulder pain. I'm there to get them healthier, there to get them their well-being elevated, right? So I think with the well-being perspective, I just want to approach the whole picture, the whole body. It's one amazing and beautiful system. We can't treat it like it's one part. It's just a spine. It's just a shoulder. It's one full system, always working together.
Yeah. That's so cool, man, because it speaks to quality of life and quality of life issues. And we at Peaks Recovery, we do, on the front end, we'll do like quality of life assessments. And so people will come in, naturally, they're like, 0 out of 10. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And when I started to move into more of my holistic wellness, I would have thought, if you would have asked me about quality of life, because of where I was at and where I'd been, which was like hell, right? So it was easy for me to be like, man, this is great. 8 out of 10, but I'm 50 pounds overweight. Mm-hmm. I'm disconnected in relationships, family, community, and culture. But I'm sober so many years. And so I think there's something to really say to speaking to the whole person and really elevating that. Because when I look back with the benefit of hindsight today, I would have been like, and I tell people this all the time, I'm like, 5 or a 6 of quality of life, because I didn't know what was possible. Mm. I really want to like light a fire under my recovery people. That podcast we were talking about, and just the recent study about steps and just taking steps. And I think sometimes people look at Chris Burns and like, dude, he's crazy, man. You take way too many steps.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not asking anybody to do that whatsoever. I am a little bit on the edge.
Yeah.
But I heard a study the other day, 7,500 steps a day. 7,500 steps a day of just walking with a friend, having a coffee in a park, whatever it might be. And Christian and I are going to go test how long it takes, but we're imagining it takes about 40 to 45 minutes as a casual pace. It lowers 40 to 60% all-cause death mortality if I can do 7,500 steps a day.
Huge.
It's huge.
No.
And I know each and every person down on our Trailhead campus right now, all 30 of them, each and every one of them, on any given day, can walk with me for 7,500 steps. And if that can reduce all-cause death mortality, what a gift.
Huge.
What a gift.
No pills doing that.
Yeah.
No pills doing that.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then we bring people out and we're like, oh my gosh, we can really begin to your point, get some good sleep, enact the circadian rhythm, get sunlight on our face in the morning. Every single thing that you hit on with respect to wellness informs mental health. Mm-hmm. Informs mental health. I sit around with people all the time, you know, I'll run down the road, I'll be like, hey, they're walking their dog, it's dark out. I'm like, way to engage in your mental health. They're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
100%.
And I feel so much better. And I kind of feel compelled to tell this story as well. You know, you've been working with Cass, my wife, for the last 8 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. And I was chatting with her yesterday and we got home as my leg was swelling up like a grapefruit. And I'm just like, she asks a brilliant question all the time. She asks great questions. But the one question that she asks all the time that I think is the greatest question on earth, she always says, yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Love that.
You know, how do you feel? And so she was talking about her experience working with you. She just got back from her walk for a mile. She's bright and beautiful more than ever because she's doing the things. And I was like, how do you feel? And she's like, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
It's just a couple months, you know, from surviving to thriving.
Yeah.
There's a real opportunity here for people that are feeling a little down on their luck, a little disconnected from their mental health and their overall well-being, to engage in something that maybe feels a little bit atypical. But when you were talking, I almost thought to myself, you're like the 2024 recovery sponsor.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It just costs money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So I think one of the coolest things that I've really been able to connect with since knowing you and being in relationship with you is your willingness to buck the status quo. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can talk a little bit where that passion came from. You know, I know you're in, you went to school, you've worked at 15 different locations, but where did you start to see like, we can do this better?
Yeah, what just resonated with me when you asked that was a specific experience I worked at. I did travel therapy, so I was kind of put in different places around the country. I was in the middle of nowhere, Kingman, Arizona.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know Kingman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty new to PT. I think I was a year out, if that. Treat a lot of chronic back pain. And, you know, I was trying to implement things I learned in school. Let's do some soft tissue. And then also as a new grad, you know, you're kind of, you start treating how other people around you treat because you don't know all the things yet. So you're like, I'll do what they do because it seems like it's working. But in this specific experience, we were not getting results. But the treatment was you come in, you get a hot pack. We're gonna lay you on a hot pack, it's gonna feel good, right? 10 minutes later, we're gonna take it off, we're gonna rub on you. I'm gonna give you a little massage, right? On the table. After that, we're gonna show you a couple stretches. After that, we might put a band around your knees and have you spread your knees. Might have you lay on your back and lift your hips, do some bridges. And they'll say, how do you feel? Feeling good? All right, we'll see you on Tuesday. You know? And I was there for 9 months. I was a 12-year contract. I left in 9 months because I realized, wow, this is not working. This is terrible. I had never seen so many back fusions.
Wow.
In my life.
Where people are going and fusing their spinal cord.
Fusing. I saw people fused all the way.
Wow.
Couldn't move. Could you imagine what they were there for? Back pain.
Low back pain.
Right? Yeah. You know, we're putting rods in people's spines to fix back pain. It's not working.
Yeah.
We're massaging backs. It's not working. Heat packs. It's not working. So I was like, wow, what is this? You know, and then I went and started trying to learn more, finding good Con-Ed courses. There's a company out there, shout out to Ice Physio. They're doing great things. What they're doing is they're calling PT 2.0, right? It's that next step of PT. We're not doing the ultrasounds and the hot packs and stuff. We're getting people moving. We're talking about nutrition. We're talking about sleep hygiene, lifestyle habits, because all that is related. And so that was like the switch for me. It was like, we got to do better as a profession. I cannot put another hot pack on somebody and think their back's going to feel better long term, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big switch for me. I pursued more continuing education. I surrounded myself with like-minded individuals who are doing that. So, you know, the phrase that a lot of my colleagues use is, we're going to mob it and load it. We're going to mobilize you, whether it's adjustments, mobilization, get you moving, and then we're going to load it. We're going to put some resistance on it. We're going to get you stronger. We're going to build up resiliency in those tissues. And you build a capacity in those tissues to tolerate more. And that's what we really need.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. When I came in today with my swollen leg, not for a second did you say, all right, man, we're gonna go put it up. We're gonna stay off of it for the rest. The first thing you asked me is, did you train today?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, yeah, I already trained. You're like, cool, man. Right on. How'd that go? He's like, I saw you with your deadlifts. Good job.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, you go see a doctor down there, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, your leg, we should put it up, elevate it 6 months. You know what?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest piece of advice people get is, you should rest it. So usually the worst thing you could do.
Right.
Now,
Immobilize.
I think I mentioned earlier, if your femur is split in half, let's get that straightened out, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, most things we don't need to rest it. We call it relative rest. Let's not piss it off.
Right.
Let's get after it other ways.
Yeah.
Let's get you on the bike. Let's get you doing something. Let's do some upper body. Let's get the blood flowing.
Yeah, it was like today, you know, it's like I like to run, I like to ruck, I like to be on my feet, I like to walk. I had to switch up the RX today, I had to row.
Sure.
Still.
You're still doing something.
Exactly.
Still moving.
Yeah.
And the worst part is when people stop moving, right? Now we're not dealing with it. It's not just your calf. Now you're deconditioned. Your whole system is weaker, right? So anyone who come to me, especially high-level athletes, anyone's training, they come to me with an injury, we're still training. We're not stopping. We're training around an injury, but you cannot stop.
It's so cool because it really is like, it is so synonymous, Christian, with the recovery process that we speak to with respect to mental health, substance use. We don't get to stop, right? And we certainly don't get to go backwards. This is a process that moves forward one day at a time. And the most important thing in recovery, and something that I battled with certainly over the last 16 years, is just being where my feet are. And that can be really difficult when you're injured and you're not feeling well and you're disconnected and you're not getting sun, and certainly when you're not sleeping. And so I love your methodology and the way that you approach this, and the fact that you just called it physical therapy 2.0, and that's what people are calling it.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm calling this recovery thing 2.0,
Yeah.
where not only is it the most group of the most courageous people and brave people that I've ever met, but it's becoming the strongest group of people I've ever met at the same time. So really, really cool to be able to elevate people's mind and bodies, especially, you know, for folks like me, through the early part of my life, I really treated my body really, really, really poorly. You know, and we can get better and we can heal.
Yep.
Which I think is so cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of the damage we cause or could cause is certainly reversible. And I think a big mindset shift that needs to occur is, I was speaking with one of my clients this morning, 78, I believe, comorbidities, and I said she wasn't taking her blood pressure medication, and you know, I said, you know, I'm not a proponent for taking more meds, but if your doc gave you this med, you know, ideally you are taking it to try and see if it's working. We don't know if it's working if you're not taking it. And her comment was, well, I just take so many other meds and I don't see how I'm going to get off of any of them. She said, at my age, I think people just stay on these meds. And I was like, wow, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question should always be, Doc, how long am I going to be on this? Doc, how do I get off this statin? Doc, how do I get off this pain med?
Yeah.
We're not asking those questions. Doc's not answering those questions. Let's try another one. Let's try one to counteract those side effects. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Have you asked them if they slept last night?
Yeah.
Have you asked them what they ate for breakfast? Mickey D's is not cutting it, right? Kellogg's not cutting it.
Yeah.
Let's get some protein. Let's get real food. That's what our bodies were designed for.
Yeah.
So I think we just need to get back to the basics. But I love what you mentioned earlier about Cass, your wife, asking you, how do you feel? That's a question I ask a lot of my clients. Some examples could be, people are like squatting, or like people think their technique is wrong, or like something. I'm like, well, how does it feel? Certain exercises, like I was told never to do this. How does it feel? Feel good? Let's go.
Yeah.
Doc says the MRI looks bad. Doc said this is the best one. It's bone on bone. Right?
Yeah.
It's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
I've seen so many people that get these images and have this perception of like, Doc said it's really bad. I got to have surgery. It's not really going to get better. I'm not really having much pain. I'm like, we can work with this.
Right.
We can get better. 100%.
Yeah.
How do you feel? So yeah, I love that.
I love that too, and it's important. Something you always mention is the last thing you want to do is cut your body open. Last thing you want to do is cut your body open. And so if we can move into treating chronic issues, with services like concierge, and it is one of those things that fortunately or unfortunately, it's going to be a process, and it's not a quick fix. But what's really cool about it not being a quick fix is it gets to be a sustainable and long-term fix.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool, and that impacts quality of life. I've been injured for 2 days. I track everything. My resting heart rate is up 4 beats a minute the last 2 nights, just probably fighting this thing. Little things like that. And so I'm really engaged with, and I've been talking to a lot of my recovery people lately about becoming addicted to optimal. And I think Concierge Wellness and Dr. Christian Wade really speak to that in a really, really cool way. So I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah.
Appreciate you letting all the viewers know what actually is available in the community. How can the viewers find you? What's your website?
Yeah, so conciergewellnessandpt.com. You can find me there. Instagram's Concierge Wellness. Another shout out to Ice Physio though. If you want to go on their website, you can go icephysio.com/findaclinician, or just Google Ice Physio, find a clinician. They will help you there on their website find a solid PT nearby.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Cool.
So you don't need to be knocking doors or going to wherever Doc sent you, because that's all they know.
Okay.
You can find quality people who are going to spend time with you and not pass you around. And they speak the same language. We're going to mobilize and we're going to load it up. We're going to get you feeling better. But just to speak on your point about optimizing, right? I think another point to hit on is people say, and this is where insurance stops paying. I was told to write my notes to insurance. We want to do X, Y, and Z to get them back to prior level of function. PLOF, that was always a hot word we put in our note. We want to get them back to prior level. Prior level is how they got here. We're getting you better than that.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't want to get you back to where you came from. I want to get you better than that. And so we want to be optimal, not just average.
Right. And I think that's been a huge issue in our healthcare system is this mediocrity, average, back to where you came from.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that, because in recovery, I was like, I just need to go back to the 12-year-old. They're like, you don't need to go back to that. We're creating a new person.
Yeah, exactly.
New person. Let's go. So, well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate what you do for me and my family, and even bigger than that, what you do for the Colorado Springs and Fountain community. Dr. Christian Wade, everybody.
Yeah, thanks y'all for having me.
Thank you. Peace.
Appreciate it.